Hey makers, this is Dhruvin, and today we are going to talk about how you can connect Azure DevOps with your Power Platform solution. This concept is also called as Dataverse Power Platform solution. So now let's get started and talk about today's session agenda. So first of all, in this episode, I'm going to talk about why the source control is very important at the DevOps level or for repository management for the solution perspective. Then we'll talk about how we can start with any type of prerequisites for Azure DevOps GitHub Repository integration with Power Platform solution. Then we will connect to the Git and perform Git push, and specifically we will deploy our code to the DevOps. So let's get started with this journey. So first of all, let me talk about what is source control in the world of Power Platform solution. So generally when you are in your Power Platform environment, and let's say for an example, you have created any solution for yourself. Behind the scene nowadays, Power Platform is offering the native GitHub integration functionality. So when you look at this project Pulse, right? Over here, when you select any solution, you have an option to connect it with the Git. Or let's say for an example, when you open any solution over here, after the pipeline, you are able to see the option source control. So this source control is nothing but behind the scene, you can connect your Azure DevOps repository over here. Now what the advantages you are getting when you are connecting the source control into this particular fashion, let's talk about that. So basically when we are deploying our thing to our repository, basically there is no fear of losing your work. Each and every change will be captured as a change log in the GitHub repository. Also, multiple developers can work at the same time. You will be having the full history, what is being changed, and safer deployment can be performed over here. So that's the reason why source control is very, very important. Now, what are the prerequisites before you get started with the integration of the Azure DevOps? First of all, you need to have Power Platform environment. Obviously, you need to have it. Second thing is that you need to have Azure DevOps organization account. Third thing is that you need to be able to create the project into DevOps. You should having the repository in the DevOps. And last one is you should have Power Platform solution, because this feature is solution aware. So only within solution you can apply this thing out. Now let's start from the scratch that how you can perform this overall source control for yourself. All right. Now, before we get started, let me tell you a couple of things over here. If you are someone who wanted to interested more ALM part and wanted to learn the pipeline, this Power Platform native pipeline or Azure DevOps pipeline, I have two playlists already on my YouTube channel. So when you visit my YouTube channel, when you go to the home page over here, there itself, the whole deployment pipeline step-by-step series is available over here. It's a premium membership program, so you can just join and enjoy this full series if you are interested into that. And pricing is just less than a medium size of pizza pricing. It's just like a Netflix subscription, so you can explore this thing out. And another thing is that if you are interested into DevOps pipeline, here there is a full playlist also available for the DevOps pipeline, so you can explore that thing out as well from the playlist section available over here. So check out that thing and explore that thing over here. So this is your DevOps pipeline and lots of other Power Platform component also here on my YouTube channel. So explore this thing out over here. All right. So now let's get started with our journey. So first of all, my goal is to make this solution available within the GitHub repository. For that, very first thing is that you need to open your Azure DevOps account. And how you will open that? Most of the time organizations are having DevOps accounts already. If you are not having the DevOps account, it's a whole new exercise. You need to simply search on Google that how to create DevOps account for organization and need to set this up. Okay. Generally, DevOps integration site, Azure DevOps account organizations are having already. Now, to open the Azure DevOps account, simply need to type in the URL dev.azure.com and you need to log in with your Azure account, and from there you can just open whichever project branch you have created over there. So overall here I'm having this project called Power Platform Source. So into this project, I am going to push my code. So let's open up that project over here. So one project has multiple repositories over here. So specifically, you need to focus that repository section from here. Let's go here and create our fresh repository from the scratch. So currently I am underneath repository section over here, and you can see that I am already having so many different repository available within this particular environment. Now what I'm doing here is, in this project I'm creating a fresh new repository from the scratch. So let's click on new repository and set up our fresh repository from the scratch. So I'm providing my repository name as YT Git YT DevOps North America. I'm just providing this one over here /dev. This is dev repository I'm just creating here. So I'm just having like this way dev. Let's click on create over here, and this is my new repository created successfully. Now next immediate step what I'm gonna perform is, let's go to the solution over here and let's go here in this project. Now in this solution, let's click on source control, and there is an option to connect the solution with the Git. So click on connect over here. As soon as you click on connect, there is an option. You want to connect this DevOps repository with entire environment, or you only want to target this specific solution. My recommendation is go with the specific solution. Do not go with the whole environment. Otherwise what happens is, everything which is being created in this particular environment will go underneath that repository. But I really don't want. I only want to target specific solution from this whole repository. So I'm selecting the solution from here. As soon as you select the solution, basically it will show you the available organization from your Azure DevOps account. So of course you need to use the same Azure DevOps account using which you log in over here. So specifically organization is nothing but when setting up the DevOps for the first time, whichever organization that you have set up for yourself, it will be available over here. In DevOps world, it's called sometimes as the project as well. Okay, so I'm just selecting this one, Power Platform DP. And inside that I can see the project name over here. Power Platform Source is my project name. I'm selecting that, and repository. So this is the repository we just created, that is also showing up to you automatically. Okay, so this functionality natively beautifully provided over here, that you don't need to do any hard work over there for yourself. Okay, and now what I'm doing here is, here you need to provide root git folder. Okay, now let's provide the folder name over here. Here you can provide any name over here. So here I'm providing my folder name as YouTube / Project Pulse Dev. Okay, I'm just providing this type of name over here. According to your need, you can provide appropriate Git folder name for yourself. Now I just provided this name and click on next. As soon as you click on next, it will ask you for the branch name. So I'm having only one main branch over here. In case if you are having the separate branch for dev, UAT, test, you can select appropriate branch that where you want to make this code available. So I'm just having in the main branch, so I'm not going to create any new branch over here. Even here as well, they are offering you to create a new branch, but I'm not using that. I'm simply pushing my code to the main branch. And now you need to click on connect after that. Perfect. So I'm clicking on connect. As soon as you click on connect, it will take some time in order to make this entire source code to be available in your Azure DevOps repository. Let's wait for some moments over here. It will take some time for the connection. And here I am, my Project Pulse solution successfully connected to Git, and you can see that refresh to see the latest set of changes, and over here you can see the view version control as well, and it will take some time. So you need to wait until this whole process is being completed. So let's wait for some moments over here, and by the time if you open your GitHub from here, what happened here is, you see you created the YouTube folder, and inside that your Project Pulse Dev, inside that your whole solution repository started pulling into here. All right, it's not added anything yet over here, but this is the structure which is being created underneath your repository. Let's wait for this whole process to be completely finished. Will take some time. Sometimes it is taking around 5 to 10 minutes depending on the size of your solution for the very first time. From the next deployment onwards, it will be pretty much quicker and faster. So let's wait for certain more movements over here. And here I am. My solution is now ready for commit. It almost takes 15 minutes to finish everything over here. Now what happened here is behind the scene, it basically extract every object from your solution and trying to add that on your GitHub repository. So now at the same time, if I'm opening my GitHub and if I'm just refreshing my repository over here, you can see that it has created the different folder underneath that. Okay, now at this point up to project pulse folder it is created, and right now it has identified this 500 changes in my repository. Now all these changes I need to do commit. So first step is that for first commit, you just need to click on commit option from here. Let's click on commit. Once you commit, only after that all the files will be available in your DevOps. By the time it only has the folder structure. All right, now I'm just adding that my first commit and click on commit button over here. As soon as you click on commit, it will start committing all the file in your DevOps repository. Let's wait for this to be finished. For the first time, it will always time consuming, because for the first time, depending on your solution size, it push all the files to the GitHub repository. So it will be time consuming. Later on, whatever changes that you have made, only those changes are going to be deployed to the GitHub repository. So at that time you will not face that much of long time wait over here. Also remember one thing, sometimes if your solution size is bigger, this process is taking longer time than expected. So just wait for that. Also sometimes it is throwing you some sort of errors as well. Errors in the sense that some of the components are not supported. Sometimes you are using environment variable across the different solution and it is repeated, or maybe some of your connection references or anything is repeated in multiple solution and it is already deployed to the DevOps. At that time also it will give you some sort of error. So maybe you just need to resolve it if that happens, but hopefully let's see by this time it will deploy everything properly. Let's wait for certain more minutes over here. And here I am, all the code has been committed successfully, and now I can see this message, commit completed successfully over here. Now if you want to open the GitHub repository and check all your code files over there, you can either refresh your DevOps repository which you have just been published over here. So I'm just going over here, refreshing my DevOps repository, and let's see what can I see over there. So now when I expand these folders over here, you can see all the different files are available over here as a code file, and when you open anything over here, you can able to see the behind the scene YAML file and everything available in your DevOps repository. Now let's say for an example, what happen if you make any changes after your deployment. Let's say this is your first commit that you have done successfully. Now what I'm doing here is I'm simply going to the overview section over here and simply going to the object section. Now let's say for an example, I'm introducing one more Dataverse column over here for myself. So let's say for an example, there is a project table and there is a column section over here. Okay, and let's say for an example, here I'm adding one more column over here called project date, and I'm just having the data type as a date time over here. So let me just create that and let me click on save. So this is one new column which I have introduced in my solution now. Okay, or maybe just imagine you are changing any of your web resource file, or let's say in the model driven application you are making any changes, or you are changing any views, any changes you are doing over here. Right now, after you make any changes within your solution, after that what happen here is when you look at this section over here, you can't see the changes immediately. For that, what you need to do here is simply you need to publish all your changes over here. So once you publish all your customization over here, after that whatever changes that you have done for yourself, it will be available as a changes underneath source control, but you need to publish your customization over here. And here I am, my solution has been published successfully. Now I'm just going to my source control again, and at the time you can see that one column we changed, but according to that some other files also been modified. So it is showing me that these are all the changes that you have made over here within your solution. Now this is the incremental commit that we are doing into, which means that whatever changes that we have made, those are the changes we need to commit into our source control. And to do that, I'm just selecting the commit button from here. And now let's do the changes. I'm just adding some comments over here that added a new column. And I am committing all these changes to my GitHub repository, and it will be pushing that code into our GitHub repository in the DevOps. So let's wait for this process to be finished. We'll take some moments to do that activity. All right. By the time, if we just go over here in your repository over here that you have created, you can see all the commits that you have done over here, and you can see that the first commit that you have made, you can see your name over here that okay, this is your first commit over here. All right. So again, like when we are working with this kind of repository, all the changes that we apply over here, it basically follow all the DevOps principle over here. This is how typically in the GitHub the push pull this type of things is working. Same thing will be applicable over here in your DevOps as well. So see, this is completed over here. And even let's say for an example, sometimes some other developer made a change and pushed the changes to the GitHub repository, and that's something you want to pull in your solution, then you can just use check for the updates and it will pull all the changes over here for yourself as well. By the time I'm just opening my repository again and I'm refreshing my page to look at my latest commit, and see, this is my latest commit, add a new column. And when you open this one over here, it is just showing you that okay, what are the things which is being changed over here. So here there is one more attribute being added, here some sort of more addition has been happened. So behind the scene it captures each and every change that you are making in your DevOps repository level. All right. So this is how your source control works within your Power Platform solution. All right. So this is all about it. So simply where we have started our journeys, we open our Power Platform solution and implemented source control capability over here by introducing the DevOps capability over here. Now the thing is that, let's say for an example, currently your Git connection is active. Let's say for an example, if you want to disconnect that in the future for this whole repository, then you can click on disconnect solution from the Git. And once you do that, it will basically do the disconnection between your Power Platform Dataverse based solution and your Azure DevOps. Alright, so this is all about the source control in your Power Platform solution. If you are for the first time to my channel, make sure you hit thumbs up and subscribe my channel, and don't forget to follow the bell notification to never miss any updates from my channel. Also, if you are someone who wanted to be a part of our premium membership, the join button is available on the channel homepage. You can simply click on that over here. So it's the one-time membership which is less than a medium size of pizza pricing, and all these premium courses you can explore it out 100% free within that membership over there. Also, if you are looking for any live training program from my company powerplatformtrainings.com, you can always look at our website and check out the latest training programs over there. With that, this is Dhruvin signing off. See you in the next episode with some amazing content. Till then, have a great day. Goodbye.